You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again. Today, we have another guest lined up for you all. We're going to talk to our special guest. She's not just a speaker. She's not just an author. She's an empowerment coach. Her name is Donna Dahl, and she is going to talk to us today everything about empowerment coaching. Man, if you're trying to be an engineer of your success, you might want to listen to today's episode. So first, Ms. Donna, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Shamaya. I'm pleased to be here.
So first and foremost, share with the audience a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to get into empowerment coaching.
That's a really good question. When I was first starting out in terms of doing consulting work, I used the label of consultant. I shied away from coach. I felt that coaches were for sports teams and that kind of thing. But when the people that you serve give you labels like coach and coach's coach, that taught me that what I needed to do was to pay attention to the value that I was bringing to the table. And people then started saying, "What kind of coach are you? Like, are you a life coach? Are you a career coach? Are you a business coach? What exactly is it that you do?" And I said, "Well, all of the above." So how do you wrap that into a single word? And it took me probably close to a year to discover the word empowerment. So what I prefer to think about is that it really doesn't matter what your walk of life. It really doesn't matter the stage that you're in or the goals that you're pursuing. Everybody can use a helping hand. Everybody can use a cheerleader, someone that can add to the belief that you hold about yourself, about your talents, about your skills, and about where you want to be.
And when you share that with people who work with you in your services, what are some of the common practices that you use just starting out with the individual?
Well, the first thing that I want to know is, what have you done that you've enjoyed? Or what have you done that you've been successful at? Is there something that you really like to do, but that you haven't been able to fit it into your life right now? So life's too short to simply dwell on, the glass is half empty as opposed to half full, or, I wish I would have, could have done something. Let's build on strengths. I was doing some writing just yesterday on the idea of strengths and weaknesses. There are those situations that I think people find themselves in all too often, where the whole idea is we have to identify your strengths and your weaknesses, and we need to bolster up your weaknesses so they can be as strong as your strengths, right? No, because if we focus all of our attention on the things that we're not particularly good at, or the things that we don't particularly care about, chances are we're not going to be terribly happy campers at the end of the day. So what if we focused on what you really like to do, or what you're really good at?
Well, that makes sense, because part of what you do too, you're helping people make faster decisions and better decisions. What has been your advice to people who make it difficult and they have trouble making decisions?
Well, I think that where we as a population are motivated by two different directions. We have fear of failure and hope for gain. Fear of failure, hope for gain. And so if we're stalled somewhere in the middle of all that, where's that coming from? Is that coming from some place where you maybe found yourself in a similar situation and the action that you chose didn't turn out to be terribly palatable or successful? Is that what's stopping you? When we're stuck, there are reasons why we're stuck. And I don't know, I think our psyche tries to do its level best to protect us. So if it's giving us a timeout, if it's saying not yet or not ready, what's that about? And it can't always be a bad thing. It might be for the very best.
And those who are trying to go to that next level is usually because they're looking for that clarity. They're looking for sharpening skills and finding new resources for them to go from point A to point B, because from that level to the level that they want to go, it's going to take some kind of commitment for them to get there.
Yes. Yes. And sometimes there's a fear of making a commitment because it's going to involve time.
Yeah.
Or courage.
Once again, listen on Refocus Radio, talking to our special guest, Donna Dahl, Empowerment Coaching. Go to our website, donnadahl.ca. And when you are pushing people beyond their limits and you're inspiring them to have that vision of themselves, because it takes a special person for people to recognize the special person in themselves.
You know, everybody has strengths. Everybody has something that they can do well. And I think everyone has value. So the question becomes one of, do you value what you're good at?
Yeah.
Do others value what you're good at? Do they even care? Do they recognize it? How's that showing up? Is it showing up in your families? Is it showing up on your performance records? Because sometimes what we believe about ourselves isn't necessarily in alignment with the way others see us. And what can we do in order to create something better?
Like how you say that, create something better, because it makes me think how many times people have been stuck in a routine where they're not creating anymore. They're just passively living, whether it's day to day, doing the same routine and getting the same results, but they're talking like, man, I wish things would get better, but it's maybe not getting better because we're not doing anything differently.
Well, but you remind me of the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
And how many times have you worked with people where they have been that personal battle, where they're fighting themselves from doing something different that can really unlock their potential?
Well, what you caused me to reflect upon is that from the very time that we start school, whether that's preschool, kindergarten, grade 1, doesn't matter, from the very time that we start school, we are introduced to a situation where Everything we do or don't do is being evaluated. It's under scrutiny. It's giving you a grade of your performance or the lack thereof. And so we can find it difficult to create self-discipline or to create personal goals, to think outside the box, take a different direction. All of those kinds of things that maybe for the first time in your life, it's okay to say to yourself, I'm going to operate by a different set of rules. I'm not going to break the law. I'm not going to do anything that's going to cause harm to anybody else. But I need the opportunity to test the waters with what I believe.
Yeah, when you say that, it makes me think about how we communicate to people. But I have people on the show who also touch on how we communicate with ourselves. Mm-hmm. That inner voice, like what are we saying to ourselves that could be helping us or hurting us? What is your take when on that perspective? How important is communication being a skill set for people to grow so that they can find out, okay, am I communicating myself wrong? Am I communicating to others wrong? How can you break that down for the audience?
In very early on in the days of my training in neurolinguistics, I learned that thoughts are things. And so we can go back to Shakespeare, and there's a line, I believe, that he wrote somewhere that said, thinking makes it so. Do our words matter? Yes, they do. Do how we say those words matter? Yes, they do. The whole idea is that if your communication is not getting you the result that you want, then maybe it's time to work with somebody who can dissect that communication and help you recreate it in a form that supports you to the best of your ability. I think about the language that was used in my family as I was growing up, and it was colloquial and contemporary and so on. But it wasn't until my adult life that I learned that I needed to polish my language in order to make it more accurately reflect what it was exactly that I wanted to say.
Man, it's funny you say that because it makes me think, like, the time I was in college, you go and take certain courses that are prerequisite to the other course. In other words, you can't skip steps. You couldn't just say, oh, I'm ready. And I'm using that as a metaphor because I think we do that in life. We want to skip chapters. We don't want to write the current one that we're in right now. We want to skip to the fantasy chapter, right? Where we're already successful. We're already doing the things we want to do in life. But sometimes it's a reality check of, this is where I'm at right now. Let me deal with that, but not stay there.
The communication is so essential because it's also situation specific. How you communicate with your children will be different than how you communicate with your spouse, will be different than how you communicate with your coworkers or how you communicate with your superiors. Every kind of communication is different. The thing is that how do we align all those pieces of communication in order to continue to appear our authentic selves?
That's the key. Your fingerprint is all you have. So you don't need to try to get someone else's fingerprint. And that leads me to this question. When people are busy comparing themselves to something great, whether it's another person or another circumstance, how does that also play a role in preventing them to reach their full potential?
The first question that comes to mind is, do you regard this person who you match yourself against as somebody who is your mentor? Or do you regard this person as someone who is your competitor? Or someone who serves as perhaps a bad example? I mean, we have the ability to choose mentors. However, those mentors may or may not accept the role with us. So we may be mentored from a distance by reading one of their books. We may be mentored from a distance by watching all the speeches that they deliver, or maybe they give some amazing TED Talks. Our mentors don't have to be somebody that we have coffee with or go to dinner with.
And people who, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Inviting other people into our lives should be meaningful, purposeful, and in alignment with our personal values and goals.
Yeah, I was going to say is a lot of people online that make posts, and I kind of think of it that way as well. You don't have to read every single post from every single person. You can, like they would say, old school, you can change the channel. You can say, okay, I don't want to be around this, or I don't want to be around that. I can focus on where I get my information from, or who's leaving their impact on my life with their influence.
Absolutely. I love the way you described that.
And when you are helping people, you help different, like we said earlier in the show, you help different, all walks of life.
Yes.
From authors to entrepreneurs, people who are in transition of one place to another place in their life. But you also help coaches as well.
Yes.
What was some of the tools that you equip with other coaches so that they themselves can be better coaches for the people that they're helping?
Well, a very interesting way of looking at things, to separate out one group from another. It doesn't really matter which individual or which group of individuals. The first thing, always and forever, is getting clear. Getting, like, if you could say to me, look, I'm headed for Miami. Okay, so you get in the car and you're heading for Miami. But, if you don't have a map, or you don't have GPS, or you don't have a plan about how far you're going to go today, if you don't have a sense of if you'd like to take a few detours, or if you want to just, do that straight run from here to there and not stop in between, you have to have some sense of not only where you're going, but how you want to get there. Different coaches work different ways. That we've got people who come from the sports realm who bring that sports mentality into the coaching situation. We have people who come from a very strong behavioral aspect and treat coaching from that perspective. So when people are choosing a coach, they might want to be more mindful of the kind of individual and how their approach aligns with the way you like to operate. I liken coaching to that of being a tutor. So if, as a tutor, it's my responsibility, it's my job to accept the student where they're at to solve the problems they want to solve in that moment, whoever the student is. It's not up to me to hand a cookie cutter approach or a 47-page workbook in order for them to complete before we start the coaching. Because I think readiness is determined by, let's have that appointment. Let's begin. I think that we could work together in order to help me to get to a better place.
Once again, listen to Time Focus Radio, talking to our guest today, Donna Dahl. You go to her website, donnadahl.ca. You also have books that people can read, both ebook, PDF, and printed format. When you are writing and you're giving specific themes to these books, are they able to use these books in addition to your services, or do you recommend that they wait on that and just focus on your sessions that you have with them?
Oh, that's a loaded question. That's a really loaded question. Of course, I want people to come and spend some time with me. I love working with people. However, lessons I learned from the tortoise, for instance, is the book that is the foundation of my coaching. So it is a self-empowerment book. And as a self-empowerment book, it can work on my behalf when I'm not there. And the evidence that it does work, I think, is something that I'm extremely proud of, and that is the testimonials, the recommendations that people have left behind on Amazon when they have had the opportunity to read the book. Lessons I Learned from the Tortoise has 22 lessons that are reflections on how we journey through life, whether we race or whether we don't, or whether we treat things in a competitive manner, doesn't matter. One of the lessons in the book says, take life as a marathon, but spice it with sprints. So if we're here for the long haul, okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we want to put everything into slow or stuck or anything like that. Because if we can spice it with some sprints every once in a while, do something quick, get it done, celebrate, it energizes us. It helps us to feel good and feel successful. Where do I get my ideas? I read. I read a lot, and then I want to translate it into a way that makes sense for other people. So lessons I learned from the tortoise is I treat it as something that was a gift to me to write, and I pass it along as a gift to my readers.
And with your coaching and with your books, people listening right now who feel like they're stuck, you are helping them get to a starting point, not the talking point, but the doing point. When people are taking action and you start seeing the individual practice what you are coaching them. While we have you on, last question, when they are finally clicking, when they see that light come on, how does it feel when you see them start making that transformation, you start seeing improvement in their lives?
How does that feel? That's got to be the most exhilarating aspect of the work that I do, because to see achievement, to see change, to see somebody actually getting to where they want to be, fulfills a piece that is in the afterword in my book, where I say, challengers inspire us to take giant steps long before we might ever become giants. And I guess I'm on the lookout all the time for people who are ready to to whether they're ready to take giant steps or not, because even baby steps are steps.
I like that. Yeah, when I hear that, I think of a lifetime journey. Like, the famous sayings, Rome wasn't built in one day. It's a commitment. And
Yes.
once you are committed to that, I like to think you're either committed to improve or you're committed to basically just destroy whoever you have. So if you want to be better, then you will do better. If you don't want to be better, then you just remain the same.
Yes. And remaining the same is okay. But if there is, if there's a dream you've been putting on the shelf, if there is something that you have been dreaming of doing all your life and you've just been putting it on hold and it's not the right time, I need to be doing other things. When would be the right time? Is now a good time? Would it be okay to do something to serve yourself?
That's good. Man, that was a mic drop moment right there, man. That was awesome. Once again, listen, I'm Refocus Radio, talking to our guest, Donna Dahl. You go to our website, donnadahl.ca. You can also go to the book section and check out the books that she has available for your resources. Once again, when people contact you and get things moving, what's anything else we haven't said that you want to share with our audience before they head to your website?
Well, I wish that everyone in your audience has the opportunity at some point in their lives to work with a coach, to work with somebody who can be your personal one-on-one cheerleader. There is no feeling like it.
Once again, our guest for today, Donna Dahl. Go to her website, donnadahl.ca. I want to say thank you for taking time out of your schedule talking to I'm Refocus Radio.